got a driver? Yeah, I know. Well, where is he? He's in trouble is what he is. Dude. Do it to me.
Program, Cold Sport Tin Top Series and Puma Cup. On pole position was Danny Cassar, regular winner, a couple of times the winner this year, with the Honda Integra, the Hillwood Autos car, number 86. Alongside him will be Adam Brown, who's always very rapid in the Ford Fiesta ST150. I was watching them at Surtees this morning, very impressive. Third is 30, another Integra, that's Gary Barlow. And then 49, Dave Hutchins in his Honda Civic Type R. Fifth is 36, which is Alfie Jones in his Honda Civic Type R. And we've got 179, which is Richard Field and Richard Jason Field with the very rapid Proton Persona GT, the Malaysian car. 77 is the Alexander Williams father and son with a Citroen Saxo. 132, Adrian Matthews with the Volvo C30, which is a thinly disguised Ford Focus, built in Belgium for the Swedish company with some Ford bits, engine running gear, etc. Sort of Duratec engine under the bonnet. 46 is the Reynolds and Ridgeon Honda Civic Type R. 205, Nick Mello with the Peugeot 205 GTI. 58 is Miles Mosley with his Peugeot 306 Rally. Then 98, David Bellamy with the Peugeot 106 GTI. 444 is the Noppen Wickenden Ford Fiesta ST150. 75, Davian Craddock with the Honda. 53, Daniel Barber's Mazda. Best of the RX-8s. And away they go. No time for any more, but it's Danny Cassar who's just ahead of Adam Brown into paddock. The third place looks like the other Integra, which is Gary Barlow, who has a couple of cars ganging up on the outside of him. And in fact, up at the hairpin, Gary Barlow is under attack and will pick up the number of the car who's trying to take him coming down the hill. It's the 49 in actual fact. 49 goes through next. 49 is Dave Hutchins in his Honda Civic, and as they charge round towards clearways for the first time in this 40-minute race, we see the leaders come back towards us, and it's the familiar car of Danny Cassar from Adam Brown in second place. Honda, Ford, Honda, 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 because fifth is Alfie Jones, and then it's the Proton, followed by Papworth in his Honda 14, and 132 Matthews in the Volvo.
Yeah, good start as always from Danny Cassar, but of course he's got a 1 minute penalty. That was a bit of loss of control there from one of the Civics up there. Managed to get it all back under control, and I think that could have been the 46 Stephen Reynolds, who managed to get it all back under control by the time he managed to exit Druids there, but got himself all out of shape and trying to attack, and lost a bit of time and maybe a couple of positions to boot as well. But Danny Cassar leading the way then as he makes his way across the line to complete another lap in the lead. And then it is Adam Brown in the Ford Fiesta behind him in the number 1, and the number 30 car Gary Barlow in third place. 49 car Dave Hutchins is in fourth place with 36 of Alfie Jones in trying to hold off at the moment. Battle for fourth place as they make their way up towards Druids right now, with Hutchins trying to keep his position away from Jones at the moment. Back on the power they go. They run now down the hill. Is there a way then for Jones to try and find his way through as they make and negotiate their way through the Graham Hill bend? As But Alfie Jones still in 5th place right now, but very keen and eager to get up to 4th. We've got a car in the pit lane, though, 210. That's Gareth Cotgrove in the Ford Puma who's brought that car in.
Yes, the Puma Cup brings out a bunch of cars within this, and quickest was James Clare in qualifying in 100 from 163, which is Luke Johnson, a regular winner. Gareth Cotgrove sharing with Smithson had big problems this morning and ended up at the back of the field, so they haven't been sorted. So out front, Danny Cassar stretching away after 3 laps from Adam Brown, but the top bunch of positions still the same. That next group tightening up, with at the back of the 4 of them we've got Steve Papworth, a long-time fast Ford racer, in a later model Honda Civic, and he is on the boot lid of Richard Field's Proton, but up ahead of them Alfie Jones having a go at Dave Hutchins.
And couldn't find the way through that time, and that's just allowing the likes of the 179 Richard Field right behind to well, have the popcorn for now, but he's on standby in case anything runs afoot up ahead of him, as our battle for 4th place makes its way in towards Druids once again. Alfie Jones trying to take a slightly different line than to the 49 of Dave Hutchins ahead of him. Down in towards Graham Hill Bend we go, still line of stern, as 4th through 7th are battling away. It might allow that Volvo, the 132, to try and catch up. Adrian Matthews in that C30 to try and catch the lot of them at the moment.
Yeah, not many of them in racing, but good to see something different, and he's built it up himself, as Adrian Matthews was chatted to him at Snetterton earlier in the year, and some circuits are already quite suited, but it's a bit on the he was saying it's a bit on the tubby side to really make its mark. If he could shed some weight from it, it will be a more competitive proposition, but great to see something different.
As Alfie Jones I thought he might have had a bit of momentum there, but he lifted off going in towards Druids, maybe to try and prioritise the run out of Druids down in towards Graham Hill Bend, but still no way past that 49 car of Dave Hutchins for Alfie Jones. Through Graham Hill Bend they go then, and again Adrian Matthews trying to close up in that Volvo, but it's the 179 Richard Field who is trying to close up, and Alfie Jones still trying to find that way through then as we make our way through in towards Clearways now. They'll all get back onto the power, the quartet, in this battle for P4 as they make their way now on towards the Brabham Straight. Still, it is Hutchins at the head of that train for P4 as they make their way onwards towards Paddock Hill Bend once again. Is there a move up the inside possible for Richard Smith? He certainly, Richard Field. He certainly wants to. But now, 4th place goes side by side. Alfie Jones has found the run he needs. He's got the inside line as well. Heading our way in towards Druids. Dave Hutchins is on the outside there, but Alfie Jones found that inside line, and up to 4th place he goes.
And Richard Field liked the idea of trying to displace Hutchins as well. And right with them now is Papworth. They're watched by Adrian Matthews in the Volvo, but behind Adrian Matthews there's another really good tussle. Mark Alexander Williams, the former kit car racer, 205, which is Nick Mellor, and the Reynolds Ridgeon car are really close together.
Richard Field has got his way past now, so that finds Dave Hutchins down 2 positions in 1 lap, and he might have to be careful here because that is the 14 of Steve Papworth as well in that Civic, who also wants to see if he can try and get a position in towards Paddock Hill Bend they go. And they'll get their way back onto the power. Is this a chance for Papworth then to see if he can look for a move down the inside in towards Druids? He certainly goes for it, launches it down the inside there. Can he get it slowed down in time? Yes, he can. He'll get back onto the power, and up to 6th place he'll go. And in the space of a lap and a half for Dave Hutchins, he's gone from 4th to 7th.
Yeah, that is a worry, but a long way to go. And Adrian Matthews watching those out front though. This is an absolutely dominant performance by Danny Cassar, as it needs to be, with that huge penalty to make up for his victories elsewhere. And he won at Silverstone, as I recall, and he won at Thruxton. He was, I think, picked by Andrew Windmill at Snetterton, but Andrew Windmill in the 777 had a difficult meeting at Thruxton, is not here this time. But Cassar leads by 10 seconds after 8 laps.
Yeah, commanding at the moment, as trying to see and counteract that 60 seconds worth of success penalty he has, Danny Cassar, to serve in his pit stop. So he needs to really get those laps in, as he has been doing, to get his way through. It's
a really tall order, Kieran, isn't it? That's more than a lap he's got to make up, and that's, you know, not including all the ins and outs, but everyone has that, but more than a lap to make up. And that's why within 10 laps he has a lead of almost 12 seconds, 11.8 seconds it is.
A bit of lappery for drivers to try and negotiate as well through these early stages.
Busy, isn't it?
It is so busy out there, but we'll see how they can cope with it. Now we've got a car in the pits. I think that's the number 35 car, which is Kirchberg and Goldberg. So Ray Kirchberg has brought that Austin Rover MG Metro into the pits before the pit window has opened. So a couple of issues, unfortunately, for that Metro.
Yeah, they had problems with a fire extinguisher in quali. Little computer vision Metro. The veteran Ray Kirchberg, who's been racing for something around 50 years, I think since the early 1970s. I think he had an MGA at one point, a long time back. Always been a great MG man.
Well,
Cassar, though, now 13.5 seconds.
Oh, we got a car off into the gravel at Graham Hill Bend that just makes their way back onto the track.
One of the rotary rockets, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's Stuart Eardley in the 122 Mazda RX-8.
It is. We lost the, unfortunately, we lost one of them this morning. That was the Man and Rayburn car that got a side of it wiped out coming down the hill from Druids.
To say the battle in towards Paddock Hill Bend right now, that's the 205 car, which is Nick Mellor, and the number 46, which at the moment is being driven by Stephen Reynolds. They are battling tooth and nail over 9th place at the moment. Great battle to watch. They're making their way through in towards Druids. Mellor is ahead right now, but as we make our way now down in towards Graham Hill Bend, is there a way for Stephen Reynolds to see if he can try and get a nose up the inside? They'll make their way now towards the Cooper Straight and see what they can do, heading our way in towards Surtees. Again, they're going to run side by side. Mellor has the inside line, so for that one, Stephen Reynolds has to back out of it. As Puma's going side by side up in towards Druids as well, getting their way back down onto the power. And side by side running this is between two Pumas then in towards the right-hander of the Graham Hill Bend. So that is the 100 of James Clare, who's battling away with...
That's the class lead battle, isn't it?
It is. That's Luke Johnson as well in the 163. So that, again, they are battling away for that Puma lead at the moment. Oh, we've got a car off in the gravel up at Clearways as well now.
It's clawed its way back out again, which is just as well, because, well, just as well certainly for Danny Cassar, because what he doesn't want is something like a safety car type situation. Or a controlled yellow situation, because that will spoil all this lead he's built at 15 seconds in 12 laps.
It's a remarkable pace. It was Paul Anderton who found his way into the gravel there in that Renault Clio on the exit of Clearways then, but as you say, clawed his way back out of it, back onto the tarmac, and can start to get the pace up once again. There's Danny Cassar, race leader, crossing the line to start another lap then, as he makes his way down in towards turn one. Again, that battle for 9th place overall. Nick Mellor up the inside there of Stephen Reynolds, as they now make their way back onto the power. But here comes Reynolds once again looking for the inside line. Mellor covers it off, up towards Druids they go. And Mellor in that kind of black and day glow yellow Peugeot is holding off the grey and black Civic then as they make their way down the hill in towards the Graham Hill Bend.
Yeah, that's a car in the Pug Sport colours, isn't it? And so we had problems this morning in qualifying in one of the Tin Tops races for another Pug Sport car, which was the Chambers car. We've got Puma coming out very gingerly out of the pit lane, and there goes our leader, Danny Cassar, 86, the white and turquoise Hillwood Autos car. Kirchberg back out into the pit. Well, Kirchberg's teammate would have been, I guess, maybe Goldberg coming out, but it's being swallowed up by cars left, right and centre, that little computer vision Metro. Meanwhile, diving into Graham Hill Bend, Danny Cassar in the 86 car, owned by Nigel Ainge.
Yeah, doing a great job out there. 17.8 seconds the gap was to the second place car of the number 1 Adam Brown in that Ford Fiesta. So he's trying to get on with the job as much as he can, and we have a full course yellow that's been deployed, which is not great news for Danny Cassar at this point in the race.
It is not.
So, and I think code 60 is going to be deployed as well. So code 60 is in effect. So code 60 being that all cars now have to follow 60 kilometers per hour around the circuit.
It's about 37 miles an hour.
Absolutely. So in essence,
which is walking pace.
It is. Well, yeah, maybe for you, but yes, 60 kilometers per hour around the circuit neutralises the race, and in theory keeps the gaps as they are. But if you haven't made your stop yet, now might be a good time.
Yeah, well, you might see a lot of cars appearing, diving into the pit lane now.
And green flag. So very quick code 60 scenario, and we are back under green flag racing.
But there's cars here overtaking before they get to a timing line. Does that work? I'm not sure that it does.
I think code 60, green flag afterwards, is you're free to race as soon as you see green.
You've seen the green anyway, there they go.
So very short race neutralisation there. But we are now back under green flag race, and I think that's a sigh of relief there for Danny Cassar, because he can now get back onto the task in hand.
But bizarrely, he's come round and he's 41 seconds clear of anybody else. Brown, wasn't it? So yeah, maybe it worked in his favour.
Yeah,
unexpectedly.
I mean, it will always, that code 60 will always do a bit of a number on the gaps there as well. But we'll see on the next lap around. See what
what the real deal is.
What the real deal is, absolutely. And we'll see how that goes. We've got the number 30 into the pits. That's Gary Barlow, who's coming for his pit stop. And
there's see Adam Brown going through in the number 1, and it's 22.7 seconds.
That's the real deal there.
That's the real deal. And we still have a pit stop to serve, but there aren't that many cars on the lead lap. Lots of stoppers. So Nick Mellor in 205 is now 3rd, but he is a lap down.
As we were just discussing, the pit lane, you have to be in there for a minimum of 90 seconds from pit entry to pit exit. And, well, we've got our leaders lapping 52.8, so you lose a lap and a bit under that pit stop. But if you're Danny Cassar, you're losing 2 laps, in essence. So you've got to try and make that back up. You lose a lap in the pit lane, but then with the 60-second success penalty he has to serve in this race, he loses another lap. So as you said earlier, Marcus, he early, and we'll see when he pits in. Into the pits there is the 205 of Nick Mellor, who's now making his way out of the pit lane and looking to see how close you can get to 90 seconds without going on. Danny Cassar then is into the pits, so race leader Cassar is into the pits to serve his mandatory stop. Now, of course, 1.5 minutes from pit lane entry to exit, plus the 60-second success penalty, so he's there for 2.5 minutes.
What would have been useful for him is had he stopped and then that code 60 being called, and a lot of it would have been kind of erased, that aspiration. But it'll feel like a lifetime sitting in that car. And Adam Brown's in as well, but he was only about half a minute down, just under half a minute down. So Adam Brown won't perhaps be too concerned at this stage.
He's had a good first stint though, has Adam Brown. If nothing else, he's opened up the gap between himself and the 46 of Stephen Reynolds.
Yeah, who now is sort of de facto leader,
Yeah.
but hasn't stopped, and nor have the D Integra number 42, 444, Nopham Wickenden, 45 Wilshire and Churchyard, 53 Barber, 60 Hordley, they're the two Mazda leaders. But best of the stoppers in 9th place is 30, which is Gary Barlow in his Integra. Reynolds and Ridgeon go top then on 19 laps.
It's a good scrap for battle for position. Jones is in the wars again. That's Alfie Jones in the 36. He and the number 179 have been swapping positions here. Now the 179 has, I believe, has stopped. Yes, they have. So it's now Richard Jasonfield behind the wheel, and they're picking up exactly where they left off from their first stop as they make their way through in towards Clearways now, and it is still Alfie Jones ahead of the 179 of Richard Jasonfield. And can Richard Jasonfield in that Proton find his way back past? He's got the straight line speed now in towards Paddock Hill Bend. He'll look for a move up the inside, but he's not quite close enough to take full advantage of that.
Yeah, provided they all toe the line and stop normally, those without penalty should come out pretty much where they were. The big loser in all this is 86 Danny Cassar, and that white and turquoise Honda Integra, which comes out of the pit lane now. Immaculately turned out car, this one, and he goes out. He is shown on 19 laps. There he is. He's shown down in 13th place at this point. But that will unwind pretty rapidly, because not only is the quickest driver on the track once he's up to speed, but several drivers ahead of him have yet to stop.
Yeah, and launching a move down in the Graham Hill Bend. As, that's a car dispatched up there, the 49 car, which was Dave Hutchins. And I think that was for position as well. So he's got himself up in the 13th place right now, and he'll look to charge his way forward and see what he can do. We've got a car stopped. Now that's right at the bottom of the rise there, just as they were rising up, and it is starting to roll back. Yeah,
so one of the Mazdas.
It's Lee Powell, 91, who's come to a stop at the bottom of the hill as you make your way through in towards the Paddock Hill Bend. Oh, he's got it going again now. So hopefully just a system reset. We'll keep an eye on the 91 of Lee Powell and see if he can just try and make and limp that car back into the pits. But unfortunately for him, that looks like a serious problem with that car.
But what it didn't do is trigger a safety car or a code 60.
Yes. Yes, and didn't make his way through. Yeah, he is making his way back through. Oh, and there might be... Is that an issue, or is that a Ford Fiesta trying to jump out of the way? If it is treble 4, could be in trouble here. Jamie Wickenden behind the wheel, and yeah, that's a slow-moving Ford Fiesta. That is the treble 4 onto the Cooper Straight. A couple of issues there for that treble 4, unfortunately, and it's gone right behind our commentary box position, I think. So keep an eye out for it. We'll see if anything can happen, just like the Mazda earlier on, with a bit of a system reset there. But oh no, it has pulled on the Cooper Straight. It's now pulled into this sort of access area, so it's well out of harm's way, and it will be recovered off track. But unfortunately, that's the end of the day for Gareth Knopp and Jamie Wickenden in their Ford Fiesta.
Yes, that car hadn't made it stop at that point, so I guess it was Knopp still driving. And that one of the Mazdas has come in, and that'll be Hordley in 60, which will leave Barber out ahead as one of only 2 cars yet to stop in the top half dozen. 23 laps in, yet to stop. It's the D, Jonathan and Tom D Honda, which leads the way.
Danny Cassar now up into 9th place right now, as he keeps setting those fast laps around him.
And Barlow's 22 seconds behind. He's stopped.
Yeah, so at the moment then it is advantage Gary Barlow. at this stage of the race then, with 16.5 minutes left to run in this race.
He's 7 seconds clear of Adam Brown in car 1.
There's a mechanical flag going out to the 47. That's Sam Hayward and Will Arif in their Ford Fiesta. Not a great day to be driving a Ford Fiesta in this race, unfortunately.
It's a meatball.
It is.
Because the meatball flag goes out to 47.
47 right now is on the timing screens. Just trying to pick them
Yes,
out.
down towards the 27th place.
Ah, yes, 27th.
It's Will Arif driving it now, who was a front runner in Champion of Brands Formula Ford races back in the 1970s.
91 got going again then, so I'm not quite sure what happened going in towards Paddock Hill Bend there, but Lee Powell's got that car. It seems to be lapping as well as it did before. Yeah, pretty much on pace from where it was before. So, well, what a bizarre moment for Lee Powell on the run out of Paddock Hill Bend. But whatever's happened, it seems to be absolutely fine now.
Yeah, knocked the ignition off or something like that, or fuel pump possibly. Barlow then from Brown, 7 seconds. 30 leads, 1 is second. Last time round 55.7 to the leader, 55.4 to the second place man. So Adam Brown is just chiseling away slightly. We've got 15 minutes still to go. Whereas Cassar, he's 7th in the 86 car. 3rd is Jones in the 36. 4th is Richard Jason Field in the red Proton Persona, number 179. 5th is Papworth, number 14, in the blue Honda, dark blue Honda Civic. And 6th is 132, which is Adrian Matthews in the red and lime green Volvo. Behind them is 86 Cassar. And watch for Danny Cassar's progress. He has the fastest lap at 52.860. He was fastest in qualifying at 52.603. So he's within a couple of tenths or so of that. Cassar now up into 6th place. And he's 4.7 seconds adrift of Steve Papworth. Last time through, lapped 4 seconds quicker.
Yeah, on a charge at the moment, and see what he can do. As that's the 205 as well, and up into 9th place at the moment. Nick Meller being in the 205. That Pug Sport liveried Peugeot at this stage.
The key of this, I think, is that if we look to see where Cassar is when he finishes his next lap, we can gauge how that's likely to go with 13.5 minutes to go. Cassar goes through. Cassar is 500,000, 28.8 seconds away from the lead.
Okay, that's going to involve some maths here, isn't it? Because at the moment then, how far? Yeah, 28.8 away. He's currently lapping roughly just shy of 2 seconds a lap quicker than our race leader at the moment.
So that's kind of 13 laps. We've got 13 minutes. They're inside a... So it's going to be close.
It's going to be close.
But it's doable.
Yeah.
But the fly in his ointment may well still be... might still be Adam Brown. But Adam Brown is struggling to take a lot of time out of the leader on a consistent basis. He gets 2 or 3 tenths and then it drifts again, but it's according to where you meet the traffic. Jones in 3rd place, he's in the 55s. Personal best Barlow, our race leader. Let's not forget Gary Barlow in number 30. He's the guy who's making the pace. He's the guy who's covering the laps first. Field in 4th place is in the high 55s. High 55s for Papworth. 53.3 last time through for Cassar on 27 laps. And on 27 laps, Danny Cassar finds himself now 27.2 seconds behind the race leader. So it's moving in the right direction for him. Everybody has now stopped. The window has closed. In the Puma Cup, we've got a problem somewhere for maybe a penalty for Hordley and Johnson. Hordley running 2nd in the Mazdas,
and Nick Meller as well.
Johnson, who's running 3rd in the Pumas.
Yeah, it's an exclamation mark. It's not explained what they are just yet, but I have a feeling with the pit window now closed, that could be
something to do with it, shall we say?
Yeah, that could be have an issue with it. Danny Cassar now making his way down the hill and heading his way in towards Graham Hill Bend, as he's currently, well, last time at the line he was 4th place, chasing down now the 36 car of Alfie Jones.
So the important thing, Kieran, is 25.5 seconds to go. We've still got time for probably 12 laps, but another personal best for Barlow on 29 laps, a 54.783. Still Cassar laps quicker. Here is Cassar. Brown second, 4.4 seconds behind. Cassar is 23.6 seconds off the lead.
And he's just set the fastest lap of the race in doing so. 52.830 now, fastest lap of this race. 6.4 behind Jones. And as you say, 23.6 now behind our race leader in Gary Barlow.
Yeah, 52.830 you said was only your fastest lap. That was nearly 2 seconds quicker than Barlow. It's still going to be tight to catch Barlow. Brown was 4.4 seconds behind Gary Barlow that time round. 30 laps down for Barlow, 3.2 for Adam Brown, and Adam Brown's certainly very much still in the equation for this race victory as he dives into Druids for the 31st time. There is that's the Barlow car. You can see the white and purple Honda. Cassar is now inside another fabulous fastest lap, 52.795. That's quicker again for Cassar, and suddenly he's 19.7 seconds off the lead.
Doing a phenomenal job, Danny Cassar, as he looks to try and close in that gap as best as he can. How far is he away? 4.2 seconds now away from the 36 car of Alfie Jones, as we expect to see. Well, race leader has gone through in Gary Barlow, so 2 has the number 1 of Adam Brown.
Yeah, who's gaining hand over fist now, 2.3 seconds or 3.2. Adam Brown not worried that time about the lap car of Hutchins, who's chasing the leader, and now Adam Brown is moving in the equidistant now with Hutchins in that lapped car at number 49, the green and red sided Honda, splitting the leaders. Here is Cassar diving down from Druids into Graham Hill Bend. I'm not sure that Danny Cassar's got enough time now to wipe that penalty out, but he's still trying incredibly hard as he goes through Surtees. The leaders come over the line. There's not a big gap at 32 laps between race leader, which is Gary Barlow, and Adam Brown. In fact, it's less than a second, 0.9.
Oh, here we go.
5.
So there goes Danny Cassar. He's got the inside line.
And a car in the gravel at Paddock.
There's a car in the gravel, and I wonder at this late stage, 8 minutes left of this race to go, it is a safety car. So safety car in these latter stages of this race.
Ooh.
Then that will open up the door for Danny Cassar.
It will, and I think the door had more or less kind of closed on him, but maybe there is still a possibility. There is Cassar, he's on the back straight. There's a car, and that is the...
It's 45, isn't it? That would be Alan John Churchyard in the Ford Fiesta.
No, not even that. It's Gary Barlow, who has come off or pulled off at the Exeter Graham Hill Bend. That was the lead car down there, and it's out of the race. And Gary Barlow in the Cannons Honda is extricating himself from the car, and body language suggests he's not very happy.
No,
not surprised.
I'm not surprised either. Unfortunate for Gary Barlow then, as he has retired from this race. So 2 cars to recover in these late stages, and well, it could actually be the car is left there until the end of the race.
Yeah, the Barlow car is not exactly in a dangerous position, but
no, it's more the Ford Fiesta that's buried itself in the kitty litter down at 1.
Safety car is now waving people through in an attempt to get the number 1 Brown behind him. Brown to Cassar 24.5 seconds, but that's just the way it's worked out with the safety car out. Third is Jones in 36. Alfie Jones in 36, and it's Field in 179, Papworth in 14, and in 6th 132 is Matthews in the Volvo. So this is quite a this is interesting. There's Adam Brown. Adam Brown's coming down to Graham Hill Bend. Danny Cassar's going round Paddock. There will be a gaggle of 3 cars between them when they get to restart, if they get to restart. It's 5.5 minutes at the moment. Of course, these laps go very quickly. There's not a lot of opportunity for marshals to snatch beached cars without the intervention of a safety car, full course caution. But there is the safety car trying to find Adam Brown. Adam Brown is behind the safety car at 35 laps.
Yeah, so there goes Danny Cassar then joining onto the back of the queue, and he's got 3 bits of traffic to try and deal with on the restart as well. But now he is in 2nd place, and a really, really good chance for Danny Cassar to try and take the win of this race. But that's the thing. How many laps do we get at the restart? How many racing laps do we get before the time expires? Do we get any at all at this point? Well, the tractor is withdrawn and behind the barriers, and it looks like they're going to leave the Fiesta there, so it will stay put in that gravel until the end of the race.
And would you want to be in the Puma, the Mazda, and the Fiesta that sit between Adam Brown and Danny Cassar? The Puma is 187. We've got 122 and 47.
Safety car lights extinguished. We're going racing again. This time around we'll be going racing, so less than 4 minutes on the clock now, and it will be a case now of, well, if you're Adam Brown at this point in that number 1 car, what's on your mind right now? 3 cars behind you is Danny Cassar, and that's going to be the battle for the lead of this race.
He may not know that.
He may not know that. He may not, but if he looks at his
mirrors... Look at his mirrors, he'll see something, and it's very turquoise on the upper planes of the body of that car.
Here he goes, Adam Brown on the accelerator, trying to build up that speed, and of course this is his chance now. He needs to get this done early, because Danny Cassar can't get past any traffic until he's past the start-finish line. Now Danny Cassar can go for some moves then in towards Paddock Hill Bend, and any and all options for Adam Brown at this point are essential, as Danny Cassar has already got past 2 of the bits of traffic, and now he gets to the inside now. That's all bits of traffic done in one corner.
Alfie Jones is far behind Cassar. Cassar has clear vision of the race leader, and we have 2 3/4 minutes, 3 laps to go, and Brown slowed down. Brown has slowed right down. He's got problems.
Oh, no.
Adam Brown's hit problems, and out of Graham Hill Bend, the old Fiesta has either jumped out of gear or hit some kind of snake. He's had some gearbox problems earlier in the year with his car, but it's job done for Danny Cassar by the looks of things. All he's got to do is complete, what, 3 more laps, something like that, and I say it's all he's got to do, but he's still got to do it.
He still has. I mean, that just looked like a missed gear as well from Adam Brown, because he's now back up to pace and back up to speed, and now he's got to try and get away past the 36 car of Alfie Jones. That is your battle for 2nd place then, making its way now up the rise and towards Druids. So it is Danny Cassar in the lead of this race. He's going to try and run away with this one and try and make it 3 wins for the season. Now though, Alfie Jones is into 2nd place. Adam Brown now into 3rd, as they now make their way in towards Graham Hill Bend. And you feel, if you're Adam Brown, this is just sort of a chance to try and redeem yourself.
And the car's all right again, so whatever the problem was, it might have just been a transient one. Adam Brown back on it. Alfie Jones hanging on for all he's worth. Brown looks up the inside, going into clearways, can't do it. Jones slams the door in his face, quite rightly so. It was his corner. Brown wafts out wide. Cassar comes through with 1.5 minutes to go. 38 laps down for Cassar. And Adam Brown squeezes down the inside into paddock. He takes second place away from Alfie Jones.
But has Alfie Jones got the momentum as they make their way up the rise then and heading our way towards Druids? No, he hasn't, and that is Adam Brown who will be able to hang on to second place, and through in towards Druids he goes. He gets back onto the power, and now it would be a case of can he just try and get away from Alfie Jones and hold on to that second place for what we have left. 60 seconds on the board.
Hutchins has got ahead of Matthews in all this. So he's bumped Matthews from the top 6. And there are cars everywhere, aren't there? There's massive groups of... There's Matthews trying to get back to Dave Hutchins. And on to his last lap goes Danny Cassar. Second is Adam Brown in 1, so Cassar in 86, Brown in 1, Jones is in third place in 36, the lime-coloured Honda. Fourth is 179, which is the Field family, father and son, Richard and Richard Jason, with the 179 Proton. Fifth is 14, which is Steve Papworth. Sixth now is Dave Hutchins in 49. Adrian Matthews in 132 is next. Nick Mellor is next, then the D's, then Davian Craddock in number 75. Mellor looks to have a penalty. Who leads the B1's led by Mosley, E by Bellamy, R by the Rotaries by Barber, Clare in the Puma Cup from Jackson. So there they go then, and they've come through, and it is a remarkable victory then for Danny Cassar. At 40 laps, has beaten Adam Brown back by 3.3 seconds. That advantage kind of swayed between the two of them. We had the Code 60, we had the safety car as well. But it's job done for Danny Cassar in the 86 Nigel Ainge's Honda. Cassar gets his third win of the season. Adam Brown in the Fiesta second. Third, number 36, Jones. Fourth, 179, the Fields in the Proton. Fifth, 14 is Papworth. Sixth, 49 is Hutchins. The Fields have won their class in Class D. Down the order behind 7th, 132 Matthews. 8th is 42 the D's. 9th is 75 Davian Craddock. 10th is 46 Reynolds and Ridgeon climb back up the order. Mosley's won B1. F is won by Nick Mellor. E is won by Bellamy.